Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're going to completely shatter everything you thought you knew about one of history's absolute most romanticized warrior classes. We're stripping away all that Hollywood romance, the cinematic glory, the polished legends, and we're plunging you directly into the brutal, unyielding reality of a samurai's life.
I want you to imagine something for a second. You're just a kid, you're 12 years old, and you're handed a book. You open it up, and this chilling sentence is literally the very first thing you read. And it's not a suggestion, you know? It's your brand new core philosophy. The true way of the samurai is to think of death every day. So how does someone actually live like this? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go back to the very beginning. Let's set the scene here. You're born in the year 1560, right into the Sengoku Jidai. That translates to the Warring States period. Basically, it's a terrifying century of just relentless, bloody civil war in Japan. Every lord is fighting someone else, tribes are constantly betraying each other, and the whole country is just one endless, grinding battlefield. And as you're born into this harsh winter, your father, who is a samurai himself, doesn't even ask how your mother is doing. He just looks at you with this cold stare and asks one single question: is he strong? When the midwife says yes, he just says good and walks out. Just like that, your life as a weapon has officially begun.
Looking at this timeline, you can see how your childhood is just immediately erased. It's totally replaced by exhausting physical combat and super strict intellectual conditioning. At age 5, while kids in other parts of the world are just playing, your dad hands you a wooden sword and tells you to strike him. When you do, he knocks you to the dirt effortlessly and demands you get back up, over and over until your body literally gives out. By 7, you're studying classical Japanese and poetry, because hey, a beautiful death requires a cultured warrior, right? By 9, you're mastering archery, learning to shoot automatically without even thinking. And by 12, like we mentioned, you're handed that infamous book of teachings.
You learn really early on that crying is an absolute disgrace. If you cry after being beaten to the ground, you make sure to do it far, far away from your father. Your entire existence is completely defined by total submission to your harsh father and your commanding lord. You're not a child to be loved, you know? You're a future warrior who is expected to obey blindly.
Section 1. The Warrior's Way. Bushido.
Now, Bushido sounds incredibly romantic from the outside, right? A strict code of honor, loyalty, courage. But the reality? It's actually much darker. This code dictates that your life is not your own. It belongs entirely to your master. If he tells you to die, you die. If he tells you to attack a heavily fortified castle all by yourself, you do it without a second of hesitation. And if you fail your master, or honestly, even if you just show up late to a battle, you're expected to commit seppuku. That's a gruesome ritual suicide, where you slice your own stomach open just to preserve your honor. Death is always, always preferred over shame.
So to maintain this impossible standard, your daily routine is meticulously designed to break your spirit and rebuild it as a weapon. You're waking up before dawn to wash your face in freezing, literally near solid water. You endure 3 grueling hours of repeating the exact same sword strikes until your muscles act completely on their own. You sleep on hard mats because, well, a soft bed makes you weak. And the ultimate test? Sitting completely motionless in the freezing snow, ignoring the numbness in your fingers and the agonizing pain in your legs, just to earn a tiny, fleeting glint of satisfaction from your cold father.
Moving on to Section 2, the honor myth and reality.
This perfectly illustrates the harsh contrast between expectation and reality. The myth promises glorious battlefield duels and endless honor. But the surprising reality? During times of peace, you are essentially a glorified government bureaucrat. You're spending your days doing paperwork, guarding doors, and, the absolute worst part, mercilessly taking rice from terrified farmers. Imagine an elderly village chief begging you with trembling hands to leave them enough food so their frail children won't starve. And your job, dictated by your lord, is to slap him, take the rice, and walk away. You eat well because they starve. It's a tough pill to swallow.
You quickly realize your actual place in this world. You're merely a pawn. You're just a piece moved around a map by lords who care absolutely nothing for your life. You get sent to fight neighbors who were literally your allies just yesterday, all based on the shifting political whims of men making deals in back rooms.
And when you do finally see combat, it is nothing like the calm, controlled environment of your training. Oh no. In your flexible but super heavy and suffocating armor, there is no honor or calm. It is a terrifying blur of smoke, blood, screaming, and just utter chaos. You realize pretty fast that your training didn't actually eliminate your fear,
It only gave your trembling muscles the memory to swing a sword while you're absolutely terrified. You somehow survive your first battle, but you have no idea how.
Section 3. Betrayal at Sekigahara. So the really defining moment for your worldview happens in 1582. Oda Nobunaga, this brilliant but ruthless leader attempting to unify all of Japan by force, is killed. But he isn't killed in some glorious battle against an enemy army. Nope. He's betrayed by his own trusted general, attacked in the middle of the night, and perishes in a temple fire. For you, a young samurai, the lesson is crystal clear. In this world, treachery always beats loyalty, and alliances really only last as long as they are convenient.
And this cynicism, it's totally cemented when your own father falls in battle. He sustains a deep wound and is brought to a tent. You sit next to him, totally expecting some grand, honorable final speech. Instead, he looks at you, his face as hard and cold as ever, and tells you he won't be continuing on with you. He leaves you his prized sword, the very one he beat you with as a child, and utters these cynical final words: "Courage without wisdom is suicide." And then, he slowly takes his last breath.
So you carry on. You survive your incredibly harsh reality until the year 1600. By now, you're a 40-year-old veteran. Your body is basically a map of permanent battle scars, a crooked finger that never quite healed right, a knee that constantly aches in the morning cold. But hey, you've survived.
But then, the ultimate test arrives. You're ordered to march to the Battle of Sekigahara. This isn't just a skirmish, guys. It is the largest conflict in Japanese history. To put that into perspective, an unfathomable 160,000 warriors converge on one single location, split between the Eastern Army of Tokugawa Ieyasu and the Western Army, which you happen to be fighting for.
You stand in the thick morning fog on the 21st of October, 1600. You're on the side of the Western Army. By now, you're totally numb to the fear. You're a machine, just waiting for the fog to lift so the slaughter can begin. This right here, this is the exact moment your entire life of suffering was built for.
But right in the middle of all that carnage, something truly unthinkable happens. Instead of honorable face-to-face combat, Allied generals in your own Western Army who secretly made a backroom deal suddenly stop fighting. They stand completely still, and then they turn on you. This mass betrayal instantly turns the tide of the entire war, collapsing your front lines and forcing you, a hardened veteran, into a bitter, chaotic retreat.
As you flee from the collapsed front lines, tasting the bitter reality of a defeat orchestrated by cowardly betrayal, you're left with this haunting final question. A question that completely dismantles everything you were ever taught in that book of Bushido back when you were 12. Was honor ever truly worth a life? Or, in a world completely ruled by backroom deals and sudden treachery, was survival the only true victory?